Alarms shattered the night as glass tanks exploded, spilling glowing alien horrors. Hulk crashed through the lab walls, green rage unstoppable, while Thor's hammer summoned a storm of pure destruction. Alien Batman lurked in the shadows, his alien tech suit pulsing with deadly intent. A tortured survivor broke free, running through chaos that consumed everything in its path. The city trembled as heroes clashed with villains, and a war that could destroy the world had just begun. Lab of Horror. The fortress of Echo Vale loomed like a jagged shadow over the wasteland, its black spires twisting into the storm-heavy sky. Inside, alarms screamed, a shrill wail cutting through the metallic hum of alien machinery. Glass tanks cracked under pressure, splintering in showers of glowing green liquid. Inside, humans, fused with alien technology, wires grafted into veins, mechanical limbs twitching, screamed as the containment fields failed. Sparks danced across walls, and the air was thick with smoke, the acrid scent of ozone mixing with burning metal. Hulk landed with a bone-jarring thud, the floor cracking beneath him. Every muscle in his green frame tensed as he took in the horror. Guards panicked, firing weapons that melted against alien armor. Thor appeared beside him in a blaze of lightning, his hammer, Mjolnir, sparking with raw energy. He swung in wide arcs, sending pulses of lightning that shredded enemy drones into molten fragments. The room trembled under their combined assault, a storm of fury and divine power. The survivor, a human boy, no older than 15, his body fused with alien enhancements, struggled to his feet amidst the carnage. His eyes, wide with terror and pain, locked on a Hulk, recognizing the raw power that could free him. As Hulk extended a massive hand, Thor sent a bolt of lightning arcing over the boy's head, clearing a path through the shattered lab. Alien Batman, the architect of this nightmare, watched from the shadows, his glowing green eyes scanning the chaos with calculating precision. "Do not let them escape," Alien Batman hissed, his voice a distorted echo amplified by alien tech. Robotic guards, twisted hybrids of man and machine, lunged forward. Hulk caught the first in a single, devastating blow, sending sparks and metal fragments flying. Thor's hammer slammed into another, sending it careening into a wall that exploded in a burst of smoke and molten circuitry. The survivor ran, stumbling over debris, his mechanical limbs twitching unnaturally. Hulk caught him mid-fall, cradling him as if he weighed nothing. "You're safe now," Hulk growled, his voice rumbling like distant thunder. Thor's eyes glowed with lightning, scanning the lab for threats, anticipating every attack. Alien Batman moved with unnatural speed, disappearing behind a column and reappearing on the opposite side, coordinating attacks with inhuman precision. Explosions rocked the building as Hulk and Thor carved a path through the chaos. Glass shrapnel flew like deadly snow, sparks danced across walls, and alarms blared in a cacophony of panic. The survivors of previous experiments stirred, some breaking free as containment fields failed. The laboratory, once a sterile chamber of horrors, had become a battlefield, alive with the pulse of terror and raw power. Hulk's fists collided with armored drones in a storm of metal and fire. Each punch was like a small earthquake, sending guards and experimental abominations flying across the lab. Thor's hammer swung in synchronized arcs, lightning cutting trails through the darkness, illuminating the nightmare in brief, blinding flashes. The fusion soldiers, humans twisted with alien biotechnology, fought back with desperate, erratic energy, but none could withstand the combined might of the god and the green juggernaut. Through the chaos, Alien Batman activated a control panel, his fingers flying over holographic commands. Energy beams shot from the ceiling, splitting the floor and sending shards of concrete hurtling toward Hulk. The Green Titan leapt over the trap effortlessly, smashing the console with a single punch, sparks flying in every direction. Thor slammed Mjolnir into the floor, sending a shockwave that flipped enemies into walls and ceilings, their screams echoing off the fortress walls. The survivor's body glitched unnaturally, machinery embedded into him, twitching in panic. I can't control it, he cried, his voice cracking. Hulk and Thor exchanged a glance, but kept moving. The boy was a weapon, but also a victim, and they had no time to hesitate. Hulk held him firmly, dodging mechanical arms that shot like missiles. Thor sent a chain of lightning arcing through the lab, shattering alien containment pods and giving them a clear path toward the exit. The fortress walls trembled as Hulk smashed through corridors, Thor flying beside him with thunder roaring. Guards scrambled, retreating in fear, their coordination collapsing under the overwhelming assault. Alien Batman's voice echoed through the fortress like a ghostly command. They cannot leave. Not alive. But the hero's path was relentless, unstoppable, a tidal wave of brute force and divine energy. Every turn revealed new horrors. Rooms filled with grotesque experiments, humans and alien tech fused into monstrous hybrids, twitching in pain and fury. Hulk and Thor navigated the nightmare with precision, striking down guards and freeing survivors. The air was thick with fire, smoke, and the metallic tang of blood. Sparks arced across shattered machinery, illuminating the survivors' faces, half human, half machine, their terror mirrored in every eye. At the main exit, a final wave of guards, twice as many, armed with alien weapons, waited. Hulk roared, charging headlong into the fray, smashing enemies with unstoppable force. Thor swung Mjolnir, lightning arcing across the room, felling drones before they could reach them. The survivors hesitated at the doorway, fear and hope warring in their eyes. Hulk lifted them over the chaos, carrying them to safety as Thor created a protective storm around them, driving back waves of alien fire. Finally, they emerged into the night, the fortress of Echo Vale looming behind them, still alive with alarms and fire. The survivor fell to his knees, breathing heavily but alive. Hulk set him down, watching the boy's mechanical limbs twitch as he processed freedom for the first time. Thor's hammer struck the ground one last time, sending a bolt of lightning across the horizon, signaling a warning to the villain empire that their reign of terror had been breached. Yet the shadow of alien Batman loomed. Somewhere within the fortress, he observed the escape, plotting. His empire may have been shaken, but the war was far from over. Hulk and Thor had survived the first battle, but the fortress, the experiments, and the dark genius behind it were only the beginning. As they disappeared into the city, the survivor whispered, "They'll come back, and they'll be worse." Hulk and Thor exchanged grim nods. Echo Vale had shown them the horror of the villain's power, but also the spark of vengeance that would ignite the rest of their campaign. The war had begun, and it would be brutal, cinematic, and unstoppable. Streets of chaos. The fortress of Echo Vale burned in the distance, its jagged black spires wreathed in smoke and sparks, a warning to the city below. Hulk's massive footsteps shook the ground as he moved through the streets, carrying the survivor with one arm while swatting away armored drones with the other. Thor flew beside him, Mjolnir crackling with lightning that split the darkened sky, illuminating twisted buildings and debris-strewn avenues. Sirens wailed across the city, and the air was thick with panic. Citizens peeked from shattered windows, hearts pounding as hope sparked in the chaos. Alien Batman's army had anticipated the hero's escape, and now the streets erupted in battle. Half-human, half-alien enforcers charged with whirring mechanical limbs and energy cannons, their shrill shrieks echoing off concrete walls. Hulk roared, swinging a burning lamppost like a club, sending armored soldiers flying into abandoned vehicles. Thor's hammer spun, summoning bolts of lightning that tore through drones and fused hybrids in explosive arcs. The storm above roared in sympathy, lightning striking one metallic corpse after another, illuminating the terror-stricken cityscape in blinding flashes. The survivor, though terrified, tried to keep up, his body twitching from the alien enhancements grafted into his limbs. Each step he took sent shudders through the modified parts, sparks flying with every movement. Hulk glanced at him, gritting his teeth. "Stay close," he bellowed, swinging a car at incoming enemies like it weighed nothing. The boy nodded, determination flickering in his wide, haunted eyes. This wasn't just survival, it was vengeance. Above, alien Batman appeared, swooping down from a ruined skyscraper with the elegance of a predator. His armor gleamed sickly green, wires coiling around him like living serpents. Energy blades extended from his arms, slicing through drones and soldiers alike. "You cannot stop me," he hissed, his voice amplified by alien tech, carrying across the streets with eerie clarity. Hulk growled in reply, swinging with such force that the ground cracked, sending jagged chunks of asphalt flying. Thor charged, hammer raised, summoning a storm that tore roofs off buildings, sending the villain's army scattering. The battle turned the city into a nightmare of fire, smoke, and explosions. Cars overturned and ignited, streets split under the force of Hulk's charge, and alien technology sparked wildly as it malfunctioned. Civilians, trapped in shattered buildings, clutched each other, eyes wide as the city became a war zone. From alleyways and rooftops, more hybrid soldiers appeared, but Hulk and Thor moved with unstoppable precision, cutting through enemies like a hurricane of raw power. Alien Batman unleashed a pulse of energy that rippled through the street, knocking Hulk and the survivor off their feet. Thor countered immediately, swinging Mjolnir in a wide arc, summoning a lightning strike that shattered the villain's energy shield. Sparks flew, and the villain snarled, retreating briefly to reassess. Hulk shook the debris from his shoulders, bellowing, and surged forward, smashing a line of drones into a crumbling building. The ground shook with each step, sending enemies toppling and creating a path for the survivor to keep pace. The survivor stumbled, his half-mechanical legs twitching uncontrollably. Thor lifted him with one hand, shielding him from an energy blast as Hulk smashed through a squad of hybrid soldiers. Together, the heroes formed a moving wall of unstoppable force, their presence alone sending fear cascading through the villain army. Soldiers faltered mid-step, unsure if they were facing gods or monsters. Explosions and lightning illuminated the chaos, a cinematic storm painting the city in shades of fire and electricity. A massive alien transport vehicle roared down a main street, weapons swiveling to target Hulk and Thor. Hulk leapt onto it, his massive fists hammering the reinforced metal until it buckled and collapsed. Thor hurled Mjolnir, smashing through the cockpit and sending the driverless machine crashing into a wall, flames erupting in every direction. Alien Batman appeared above, claws extended, swinging with impossible speed, but Hulk caught him mid-flight and slammed him into a burning building. Sparks and shards of alien tech flew in every direction. Despite the destruction, the survivor's determination grew. His enhancements, though flawed, began to react to Hulk and Thor's presence. Muscles twitched with newfound strength, and his eyes, wide with fear moments ago, now burned with resolve. I can fight," he whispered, almost to himself. Hulk nodded grimly, understanding that this child, this experiment, was no longer just a victim. He was the spark for the rebellion that would ignite the city. As the battle raged through the streets, alien reinforcements streamed from side alleys and collapsed buildings. Yet for every wave of attackers, Hulk and Thor countered with devastating precision. A skyscraper shook as Thor's lightning struck a central support beam, causing it to collapse on a swarm of hybrid soldiers. Hulk crushed armored vehicles underfoot, sending fragments and fire raining down like meteors. The city trembled, and even from the rooftops, it was clear the villain Empire's hold was cracking. Alien Batman watched from above, fury coiling through him like a living thing. "They cannot survive the night," he hissed. Yet every maneuver he made was countered, every trap anticipated by the hero's raw strength and divine might. As night fell, the streets glowed with fire and lightning, a battlefield where gods and monsters collided. The survivor ran beside Hulk, limbs moving unnaturally fast, eyes wide but resolute, carrying the weight of the city's hope. By the time the heroes reached the edge of the city, the villain army lay in tatters. Smoke rose in massive plumes, the sounds of sirens and screams echoing over the chaos. Alien Batman disappeared into the shadows, his eyes glowing with menace, knowing that this was far from over. Hulk set the survivor down, surveying the destruction with grim satisfaction. Thor's hammer struck the ground one last time, a deafening warning that the heroes had survived, and they would return for vengeance. The city burned, but hope had returned. And somewhere, hidden in the darkness, Alien Batman planned his counterattack. The war had only just begun, and the streets of chaos were just the first act of a battle that would shake the world to its core. Villain's army falls. The city streets were a war zone. Smoke twisted into the sky, fire reflected in shattered glass, and the screams of both humans and hybrid soldiers filled the night. Hulk's massive green fists smashed through armored troops like they were paper. Every punch sent enemies flying, their mechanical limbs sparking and twitching before going still. Thor's hammer whirled with deadly precision, lightning cracking across the battlefield, turning drones and soldiers into molten shards. Alien Batman emerged from the shadows above, his armor glowing sickly green. He moved with unnatural speed, swinging razor-sharp appendages and sending pulses of alien energy at anyone in his path. "You will not survive," he hissed, his voice a distorted echo, reverberating across the streets. Hulk roared in response, charging straight at the villain. The ground shattered beneath his feet, sending debris raining down on the remaining army. Thor followed, lightning arcing from Mjolnir like a divine net, trapping soldiers midair before sending them crashing into walls. The survivor ran alongside Hulk, his mechanical enhancements twitching violently. Sparks flew with every step, his eyes wide but focused. He had survived the lab. Now he would survive the streets, and his rage began to sharpen into a weapon. Hulk scooped up a half-destroyed armored vehicle, swinging it like a hammer, flattening squads of hybrid soldiers. Thor slammed Mjolnir into the asphalt, sending shockwaves through the city blocks, tossing enemy reinforcements like ragdolls. Every wave of attackers was met with unstoppable force. Alien Batman's elite troops, twisted human-alien hybrids, tried to flank the heroes, but Hulk's roar shook the buildings themselves. Thor's lightning sliced through the sky, illuminating the chaos in brief, blinding flashes. Citizens hid behind rubble, watching in awe and terror as their supposed oppressors were torn apart by two unstoppable forces. Fear spread through the villain army like wildfire, their coordination collapsing under relentless assault. Alien Batman leapt onto a skyscraper, claws extended, glowing green eyes scanning for weaknesses. He released an energy pulse that blew a crater through the street, sending both Hulk and the survivor sprawling. Thor caught the mid-fall with a whirlwind of lightning, slamming them safely onto the ground. "Keep moving," Thor shouted over the roar of battle. The survivor's enhancements flickered, his alien graphs reacting to the presence of the godly duo, giving him strength to sprint faster, leap higher, fight harder. Hulk's fury became a storm of destruction. He smashed through tanks, vehicles, and reinforced walls, leaving craters and rubble in his wake. Thor's lightning tore apart alien drones, incinerating metal and flesh alike. Together, they moved like a tidal wave of divine and monstrous strength, unstoppable, merciless, precise. The streets were no longer a battlefield. They were a testament to the collapse of Alien Batman's army. Alien Batman screamed from above, summoning reinforcements from every side street. Hybrid soldiers poured in like a tide, their energy weapons glowing, but they were too slow, too uncoordinated against the relentless assault. Hulk roared, spinning through groups of enemies, while Thor's hammer created explosions that shook the earth. Sparks, fire, and smoke enveloped the battlefield, making the streets a surreal vision of war. The survivor, moving in sync with the heroes, began to use his enhancements actively. His mechanical arms flicked out to block blasts. His legs propelled him over destroyed vehicles, and small energy pulses from his body disrupted enemy machinery. He had become a weapon, not just a victim. Hulk gave him a nod of approval, understanding the boy's potential, his rage tempered by purpose. Thor's eyes gleamed as lightning danced along the survivor's mechanical limbs, empowering him further. By the time they reached the main square, Alien Batman's army had been reduced to scraps. Smoke rose in thick plumes, bodies, both human and hybrid, lay scattered across the streets. The villain's army, once a coordinated force, had become a broken, frightened remnant. Citizens began emerging cautiously, watching Hulk, Thor, and the survivor as saviors rather than monsters. Every flash of lightning, every thunderous punch, every fallen enemy sent waves of hope rippling through the crowd. Alien Batman, hidden above, narrowed his glowing green eyes. His army had failed, but he had survived. Retreating to the shadows, he vanished with unnatural speed, leaving the city in ruins but alive. "This is far from over," he whispered, a promise more chilling than any scream. Hulk pounded the ground in frustration, but Thor steadied him. The survivor, breathing heavily, looked at the devastation, understanding that the fight had only begun. The streets were silent, save for the crackling of fires and the distant groans of injured soldiers. Hulk and Thor exchanged a grim look. The villain empire was wounded but not defeated. Alien Batman had retreated, yes, but the throne room still awaited, and the final confrontation loomed on the horizon. For now, victory was theirs, but the war, the true war, was only beginning. Throne room showdown. The fortress of Echo Vale loomed ahead, black spires slicing through the night sky. Hulk and Thor tore through the final corridors, their path strewn with shattered walls, sparks, and twisted bodies. The air vibrated with tension, the hum of alien energy growing louder as they approached the heart of the Empire. Every step brought them closer to Alien Batman, the mastermind behind the human experiments and citywide chaos. The throne room doors were massive, forged from black metal fused with alien circuitry, pulsing faintly with green energy. Hulk slammed his fists against the doors, causing vibrations that rattled the walls, while Thor swung Mjolnir in wide arcs, lightning crackling with every strike. The doors groaned under their combined force before finally shattering, revealing a room bathed in sickly green light. Alien Batman stood at the center, perched atop a throne of fused metal and human remnants, his glowing eyes scanning for weakness. "You've come far," Alien Batman hissed, his voice distorted and amplified by the alien tech surrounding him. "But this is where it ends." Without warning, he activated a series of hidden panels, releasing swarms of hybrid soldiers and automated drones. Razor-sharp appendages extended from the walls, slicing through the air, and energy beams shot across the room with deadly precision. Hulk charged without hesitation, smashing soldiers and machinery alike, his massive fists causing shockwaves with each strike. Thor summoned a storm, lightning arcing from Mjolnir to incinerate drones in bursts of searing light. Alien Batman moved like a shadow, striking with impossible speed. Energy blades extended from his arms, clashing against Hulk's fists and Thor's hammer. Sparks flew as weapons collided, green energy radiating from the villain's body in violent pulses. He leapt across the room, swinging with razor precision, forcing the heroes to dodge and counterattack in a furious display of strength and agility. The throne room trembled under the clash of titans, every strike sending vibrations through the alien-constructed metal floor. The survivor darted between the chaos, his enhancements flickering with energy. Hulk grabbed him, shielding him from a sweeping energy beam. Thor swung Mjolnir, the resulting lightning strike disintegrating a wall of drones. Together, the three moved as a coordinated force. Hulk's brute strength, Thor's divine power, and the survivor's enhanced agility creating an unstoppable triad. Alien Batman hissed, realizing his control over the battlefield was slipping, but his eyes glowed with malicious determination. Hulk slammed into alien Batman with a bone-crushing collision, sending the villain sprawling across the throne room. Thor followed with a hammer strike that lit the entire chamber in blinding white light, disintegrating nearby drones and shattering the throne platform. Alien Batman twisted mid-air, claws extending, slashing through the debris and landing on the far side of the room, his armor sparking with damage. He activated a pulse from the throne, a shockwave that hurled Hulk and Thor into opposite corners, shaking the foundations of the fortress. The survivor, breathing heavily, tapped into his enhancements, firing concentrated energy bursts from his mechanical limbs. Each shot tore through drones, shredded walls, and forced alien Batman to take cover. Hulk roared and lunged, smashing through barricades and knocking out hybrid soldiers, while Thor's hammer created arcs of lightning so precise they pinned enemies to the walls. Alien Batman's grin faded, replaced by frustration as his army lay broken and his throne room reduced to rubble. Lightning flickered across the chamber, sparks dancing over shattered floors and smoking debris. Hulk and Thor moved in unison, their attacks relentless, forcing alien Batman into a desperate retreat. The villain's pulse grew erratic, energy surging dangerously as he prepared a final, devastating strike. With a final hiss of rage, alien Batman vanished into a shimmer of green light, leaving behind a throne room in ruin, smoke curling into the air, and two heroes standing amidst the carnage. The survivor looked around, awe and fear in his eyes. Hulk and Thor, bruised but unbroken, shared a grim nod. Alien Batman had escaped, but the battle had been won. Yet a faint hum echoed through the fortress, a chilling reminder that the war was far from over. The villain's empire had been shaken, but still lived, and the real fight, the ultimate vengeance, was only beginning. The dark horizon, the throne room, lay in ruins. Smoke curled from shattered walls, sparks flew from broken circuits, and the stench of scorched metal filled the air. Hulk's massive frame heaved as he surveyed the devastation, muscles tense, fists still dripping with energy. Thor stood beside him, Mjolnir glowing faintly, lightning crackling across his arms. The survivor, half human, half machine, breathed heavily, eyes wide with the realization that they had survived a battle few could imagine. Alien Batman was gone, but the echoes of his presence lingered. The green glow of his energy, the pulses of his traps, and the whisper of his voice haunted the room like a specter. "He's planning something," Thor muttered, his eyes scanning the shadows, anticipating traps, reinforcements, anything that might emerge. Hulk growled low in his throat, sensing the tension in the air. The fortress wasn't silent. It was alive, waiting, watching, preparing for the next strike. Outside, the city smoldered, streets still littered with wreckage. Civilians peeked from ruins, whispers of hope spreading through the smoke. Hulk and Thor moved among them briefly, shielding the survivor, who was now more than a victim. He was a spark of resistance. But even as they helped the weak and injured, a low hum began to pulse through the city, barely perceptible at first, then growing louder. It was mechanical, alien, and deliberate. Hulk's fists clenched. "It's him," he growled. Thor raised Mjolnir, eyes narrowing. From the distant horizon, a green glow began to bloom, rising like a living wound in the sky. Alien Batman's signature energy, massive and unnatural, radiated outward. This was just the beginning, the survivor whispered, trembling, his enhancements flickering with recognition. "He's calling something bigger." The ground shook beneath their feet. Alien ships, previously hidden, emerged from the clouds, sleek, jagged, and bristling with weapons. The villain's army, thought destroyed, began to regroup across the city, smaller but more precise, enhanced with new alien tech. Hulk roared, swinging his fists, preparing for a fight that would dwarf anything they had faced. Thor's hammer glowed brighter than ever, summoning storms above the burning skyline. Lightning cut through the dark clouds, illuminating the advancing alien fleet. Alien Batman's laugh echoed, distorted and haunting, across the ruined city. "You've won the battle," his voice carried, amplified by alien tech. "But the war has only begun." Then he vanished, leaving behind only the humming of his energy signature, now spread across the horizon like a promise of destruction. Hulk and Thor stood atop a pile of rubble, eyes fixed on the approaching threat. The survivor, trembling but resolute, raised his mechanical arms, energy flickering across his body like a warning flare. Together, they stared at the dark horizon, knowing that the next battle would not just be for survival. It would be for the fate of the entire city, perhaps the world. The camera of imagination would pull back, showing the full scope. A city in ruins, heroes poised in defiance, and an alien army emerging from the night. Lightning flashed, shadows danced, and the distant hum of alien Batman's empire promised horrors yet to come. And then, cut to black. The war had begun, but its end remained unknown. A chilling certainty hung in the air. The ultimate confrontation was coming, faster and deadlier than anyone could anticipate.